Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soulful Hunter podcast. I am your host, Johnny Mack. Through this podcast, I am on a mission to transform lives through primal adventure and to spread my mission of mentorship is conservation. This podcast is powered by Washington Backcountry, a resource for all hunters new and old. To find out more about Washington Backcountry, go to wabackcountry.com or search for Washington Backcountry on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soulful Hunter podcast. I am here down at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City, Utah at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo. And as I've been floating around the floor, getting to meet a lot of cool people, I ran across Rudy Nunez, who I'm sitting across right now. He works for Tactacam, and as I was just chatting with him about products and stuff like that, and I got to hear about Rudy's story, I was like, dude, we got to line up a podcast. We got to talk about it. So, Rudy, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Hey, Johnny, I'm happy to be here. This is our first time at the Western Hunting Convention. And I can tell you, man, just the caliber of people that you meet, the different characters, it's been a lot of fun for us. So.
Oh, man. This is my first time here as well. I'm blown away by, the conversations, the connections, the community, just what this place is. It seriously is for all you listeners out there, you got to come to the expo at least once in your lifetime. It's like Disneyland, kind of.
Now, and you and I were talking, and you told me you're pretty new to this, and your fans already know this.
Yep.
But so how long have you been doing this now?
Dude, I've only been podcasting. I started the podcast in June, had the idea in February, March, but recorded the first episode end of May, launched in June. Bam. So,
but as far as hunting, you haven't.
As far as hunting,
yeah.
Dude, I've only been hunting about 5 years. So I'm 35. Got my hunter safety at 29, but that was 29 into the year 30.
Yeah.
And 5 years now, and here I am at the seminar or doing seminars at Western Hunting Expo. Is trying to impact lives.
You know, we made that connection, and we were talking about what'd you say, late onset hunting.
Yeah, the adult onset hunter.
Adult onset hunting, and we made that connection because I was the same way. I grew up fishing. My dad wasn't a big hunter, that sort of thing. I'm from Southern Arizona, so a lot of game. But it wasn't until I think I was 28 or 29 as well, when I was introduced to hunting. And man, it's been an obsession ever since, and it's opened up so many doors.
Yeah.
Met so many cool people, got to travel so many cool places that I just never been in a community like this where just it seems everybody is above, cut above. It seems that way.
Yeah, special. So one of the coolest things about getting to talk with Rudy is hearing about his background, where he comes from, and where he is today. Yep. So Rudy, you're ex-military.
Yes, sir.
Former military. So thank you for your service first and foremost.
I appreciate that.
But you weren't always a hunter. You
Yeah.
picked up hunting in the military. You had an accident that happened. Tell us the story. Take us through that.
Yeah, so back in August 2010, I was in a motor vehicle accident. I almost lost my right hand. So compound fracture, bones exposed, almost a complete amputation. And during my recovery process there at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C., I had 2 years of physical therapy, 7 surgeries, and now I have a fused wrist, which is limited mobility. So I never thought I was going to be able to ever get back into activity, sports, that sort of thing. So working with Wounded Warriors there, I went on a hunt. It was actually a 3-day weekend in Virginia where they use hunting and outdoors as therapy for soldiers and stuff like that. And I could tell you it works.
Yep.
So I went there just to view and see what those guys were doing. And a buddy of mine by the name of Kip West, he put a bow in my hand. I said, man, I can't do that. He says, you know what? Let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of guys come through here. And that first thing they think is they can't do something, but they can. So
you're right-handed.
I was right-handed.
And you broke your right wrist.
That's right.
And so you're thinking, I got no mobility.
That's right.
I can't do it. And here this guy.
I couldn't even write my name. I didn't think I was going to get the use of my fingers back.
Dude, I had shoulder surgery. I tore my rotator cuff, and I'm right-handed. Learning how to brush your teeth left-handed is the hardest thing in the world. Yeah. And so I couldn't imagine even everything.
And and that's it. So those guys really kind of they put a bow in my hand, and I've learned that I can do it. And ever since then, it's been an obsession. That year, 2010, and I'd never hunted big game in my life. From that, I guess it was April till September, I was on the range 5 days a week, shooting about 50 arrows a night. And taught myself how to hunt, taught myself how to shoot. Went out there in Maryland and got my first doe that year at 77 yards.
So cool. At 77.
Yeah, so.
Man, so you were practicing. You felt confident. You were ready to rock and roll.
Every night, student, just watching a lot of, digesting a lot of material, and and that sort of thing, and talking to people in the industry, and really just a self-taught guy because I didn't have, I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
Up until almost 30, I'd never done it.
Right. Was that something that you took archery very serious?
Right.
Is that something
which I'd never done before that?
Like, people talk about archery as like super zen.
Yes.
Like it is the way to calm the soul because, well, you ever seen the movie Last Samurai?
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise,
That's
where
right.
the guy's like, too many minds.
That's right.
One mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Is that how kind of you viewed archery and like your healing process and all that?
It was very therapeutic. I was out there going through my rehab and stuff, and just knowing that I could do something like that I never thought I was going to be able to do. And, just seeing the progress from when I first started until now you're doing it every night. You're building your skills, you're learning things, and for me, it was very therapeutic.
Yeah.
But I think anything outdoors is that way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is. If you're into rifles, if you're into archery, doesn't matter. I mean, you set your mind to something, guess what? The body's going to follow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Where the mind goes, the body follows.
That's right.
100%. Yeah, so being a middle school phys ed teacher, I always talk to my students about you always get what you want.
That's right.
Like if you really want something bad enough, you're going to get it regardless of circumstances.
Yeah.
And so mind over matter is truly like anything's possible.
That's right.
And so you're walking proof of that happening.
And so are you, and it's one of those things where, nowadays, just definitely try to advocate in our industry.
Yeah.
I think that it's almost our mandate to kind of teach what we know to the next generation.
Yeah.
We have to, because if we want to preserve what we have and what we enjoy, we have to first be conservationists, like you said. Hunting is conservation. But just need to pass that knowledge.
Yeah.
Because I had a few great mentors along the way, and I'm sure I'm going to meet more, and I just want to be that for somebody else.
Well, and you're, once again, living proof of why mentorship is so important.
Yeah.
Not only for your healing purpose of military, but like now you're here. I met you at the hunting expo.
Yeah.
You're now literally in the industry, but with experience, and you have a different view of it.
That's right.
It's like so beautiful. There's like beauty in life.
I agree with you. Yeah, I really do. Every day we have on this earth is it's a gift. And I always say, like, children are the fruit of the earth. You know what I mean? So my 5-year-old daughter, she loves it. I'm like, hey, what do we do to deer? Shoot them.
Yeah.
And she can't hunt quite yet, but we're very close to making that happen.
Yeah.
My teenage daughter, she's killed 2 mule deer over the last 2 years, and she doesn't love hunting, but she'll do it because she's doing it with Dad.
Yeah. And you know what? People, that's a perfect example. It's like, not everyone needs to be a hunter.
Right.
But everyone, it's a great life skill to have.
Absolutely.
And then it's a great bonding opportunity.
That's right. It sure is.
And so, who is the guy that put the bow in your hand again?
His name is Kip West. So
Yeah.
he was a professional archer out there in Virginia and for Bowtech. And
So look at the legacy he's left now. So Kip, he doesn't even know that this podcast is going on.
He'll find out soon.
He'll find out soon. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a guy who puts a bow in your hand. You're trying to heal. You're trying to get well, connect your spirit with your body and all this stuff. And now you have daughters that are hunting. They're shooting. Like, it just goes on because of someone investing in your life.
And it was, and there's an organization called Freedom Alliance, and they're the one that actually really made those hunts for the Wounded Warriors possible. And I'm not a Wounded Warrior myself. I wasn't injured downrange, but I was injured, in stateside. So by proxy, I ended up getting involved with those guys. But a good friend of mine, Pepper Ayler, out of Freedom Alliance, they funded that whole thing, and we had a bunch of support guys that really just made it feel like those Wounded Warriors can come down and feel like it was at home.
Yeah.
Like they were at home. And
Right.
then, there was people that, some of our warriors that even moved down to that area just because that community is so tight-knit. And they, for them also, like, congratulating me being in the industry and stuff, because I went from a guy that's never picked up a bow to now a guy that's, working trade shows and doing that kind of thing.
Right.
And it's like, man, you're right, because like every generation thereafter, I hope that it just does that ripple effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, man, it's why I'm here. This is why it's so cool. So how'd you end up getting hooked up with Tactacam? Like, we talk about this journey of you becoming a hunter, you getting out of the military.
Right.
Like, what was the transfer, and then how did you work in the hunting industry out of like all the places you could have gone?
It's so crazy. So I was medically discharged from the military, and then I ended up doing some federal government work, worked for Social Security. So I was clickety clacking at a desk all day, and thinking, man, I'm too young for this. But so I ended up drawing an elk tag in 2017, my first archery elk hunt. And I was online looking for something to film it with, and I ended up seeing Tactacam, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna try that out. So I bought my first camera, mounted it to my bow, and went out, called a bull in from 300 yards to 35, and crushed him mid grunt, and I got it all on film.
No way.
I'm gonna have to show you that video.
Oh
here.
man, I can't wait to see.
It's on my phone, and so what I ended up doing was I submitted that to the website. The communication director called me and was like, "Man, this is the coolest video I've seen."
How many years were you into hunting at that point in which you smacked that bull?
2010 was the first day I picked up a bow. That was 2017.
So 6 years. And what was your first big game animal that you shot? That besides that first year doe?
Well,
was that your first elk?
That was my first elk.
Dude.
Yeah.
You just smashed it.
Yeah, and that was another thing. We were talking about like trying to perfect archery is like soothing or therapeutic, but trying to pick up a mouth call and learn how to
That's a whole nother.
I'm listening to Paul Medell, the Elk Nut, and these guys, Corey Jacobson, and all them guys, and just trying to learn it. And at first it sounded like a kazoo.
Right.
And but within a month or two, and driving my wife and kids crazy, I'm pretty darn good at it at this point.
Dude,
so
heck yeah!
So I called in 2 bulls that morning. Me and my uncle doubled up. So
well, it sounds like you and I actually might need to go on a hunt together.
I hope so. Yeah, no, I love it.
So talking about like learning how to call, and people are always like, "Hey, put a mouth reed in on your commute to work, just rip in your car as much as you can."
That's right, yeah.
I'm like, dude, I live less than a mile away from my work. I don't have enough time to actually get that reed wet and start.
I had a
ripping.
45-minute drive, and I can tell you that I was deaf in one ear, and then it wasn't until I learned to roll the windows down because I'm blowing myself out there. But
there you go.
It's a ton of fun, and I submitted that video. Aaron called me and says, "Hey, we got a team program. You want to join?" I said, "Man, I don't know what it's about, but let's get it going."
Yeah.
So for there, I kind of just came up through their team program. So I get a call from the CEO, Jeff Peel, one day. He says, "Hey man, we're kind of doing some cool stuff out there west. You're prior military, you shoot long range, and you're kind of in the market we're looking to kind of go after. What I got to do to get you away from the government?" Me and my wife had a hard conversation that night, and the rest is history. So just loving what I'm doing. This is a great company. They support, a lot. They support the hunting community, and that's a big thing.
Did you have to relocate your house and all that?
No, I'm like, where am I moving? He's like, you're working from home.
Oh, dude.
How can you beat that?
It doesn't get better than that.
No, so.
Oh, man. Okay, so here you are. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people out there that I feel like look at Instagram, look at social media, and they're like, how do I get into the hunting industry? How do I? And here you are, not even like intentional. You're just using a product. You're just trying to work on your own soul.
Yeah.
You smack a giant bull. There's no coincidences in life.
And my story is not typical, but I just challenge anybody out there, whatever they're doing, if they're repping a product and stuff, be true to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just one of those things where you kind of get what you put in the middle.
Yeah.
You can't win if you don't put anything in the middle. So.
But we always talk about on this podcast, you can't outgive good.
That's right.
You can't outgive good, and that leads with the mentorship aspect.
Right.
And so, put yourself out there, man. Take a risk. Have some courage.
That's it.
How do you run 1,000 miles? One step at a time.
The journey of 1,000 miles is one step at a time. You know? And it's really not that hard. I mean, basically, if you want to start yourself an Instagram page and a YouTube page and all that stuff, just start filming stuff. Just start filming stuff and getting it out there. And some people may love it, some people may not. But you know what? I find, even though I don't have a huge following myself, I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
I enjoy doing it, and I love leaving that legacy. I love sharing it with people. I show that elk video, and the hair on my arm still stands up. And I've shown it about 1,000 or 2,000 times.
So I tried to film my elk hunt. Really hard to do, by the way. But after I shot the bull, and I got my emotions on camera.
Right.
And so it's on my YouTube channel. It's only like a 1-minute clip. But I'm literally almost bawling my eyes out. I didn't, the way it's shown on YouTube is like I don't know if people pick up on that.
Right.
But for me, in my life, and if my wife listens to this episode, Megan, I love you. You're awesome. We had a miscarriage of our third child, a week or 2 weeks prior to my elk trip.
Yeah.
And so, like, leading out into this, I almost didn't go on this trip, first and foremost. It's like I got to make sure I take care of my wife.
Sure.
But she's like, okay, no, you need this, I need this, And so here I am. I'm like, okay, I'm going to, we already had a name picked out, so Cash, like I'm going to go out and shoot an elk for Cash. And so here I am. I smoke a beautiful 6x6 Washington bull, and I'm goosebumps. I've you feel it all over your body, and I'm like, dude, he's here with me, or I say he. We didn't even know the sex of it at the time,
Right.
But I also have 3 boys now. We've had a third child after that, so I kind of feel like boys is kind of what we what we pump out.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'm like, that moment, like what people see on a YouTube video or Instagram or whatever is only a snippet of like the true story that's really behind it.
Right.
No one knows that I shot that bull for my unborn child and for my wife, and the things in which the impact it had.
Well, yeah, first, God bless you and your family, man.
Yeah.
God bless Cash. I know he's up there with the angels and stuff, but what drives you?
Yeah.
And you have to have that drive.
Yeah.
And, when you put that into perspective, put that into focus, man, it makes a lot of things easier.
Dude.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you savor that moment a whole lot more.
Yep.
The second video that I did in 2018, I called a bull in for my buddy Brian Freeman, right to 8 yards. And we got that on film and just crushed that thing. But, I got a chance to film him and witness that moment for him. And he's on the phone with his wife saying, baby, I just got it done. We'd hunted a hard 4 days. Doesn't sound like a long time, but it's it's a hard hunt in Arizona. And man, I got him and he's tearing up and everything. And I can't imagine, I felt great about it. I can't imagine what he was feeling at the time. What motivated him, what drove him. A couple tags went unfilled years before that. And it's like, man, we just got it done.
Yeah.
And to me, even furthermore, hunters hunt for different reasons, man. And to me, I love to go up, put my hand on that animal and say, thank you, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your life.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because, it is a life.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that, and it just makes it that much more special.
One other thing, talking the anti-hunter perspective, how could you kill that animal?
Here we go.
Well, through death brings life.
That's right.
It is literally the circle of life. How do you have fertilizer for the dirt in which you grow your vegetables? It's the same process. The death of something old brought life, and it just regenerates and it keeps going. And so, you thank the animal for what it did.
That's right.
But its life and its legacy lives on through your family.
Sure.
And that's why you put a mount on the wall.
Absolutely.
And all these things. The honor, the story, and the legacy of the animal as well.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, dude, it's so powerful. This is why we do the podcast, man. This is the Soulful Hunter. Just light up our soul. And
you know what? This is my first
up.
time, man. I'll be honest with you. I was a little nervous coming in, but you're a kind of guy where it feels like I've known you for 5 years.
I totally agree.
You know what I mean? So it just makes it that much more easy, and I love running into guys like you. Just bring so much to the table, do so much for our industry. You're getting the word out.
I appreciate that.
And I appreciate it. And to all your fans, thank you for listening, because this guy's doing it right. So.
Yeah, dude, Rudy, you're the man, and everyone, if you are listening to this podcast, you got to go. If you ever get a chance to reach out to Rudy, Rudy, you on Instagram? Or are you on social media? How do people get a hold of you to
Yeah, so definitely. So I have a modest little YouTube page, modest little Instagram page, Red, Wild, and True.
Okay.
So, I just post my videos, I post my wife's videos. We all hunt, we do some cool stuff.
Sweet.
And man, I'm not looking to be, have 1 million followers, but the people that do follow me and stuff, man, we just I answer everything. So,
yeah.
Anybody has a question about the gear I use and stuff like that, just kind of keep it real modest. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I'm just happy to be in the industry.
You lead with humility, man.
Man,
that is why I'm connected with you, drawn to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It is so cool to see the people that actually will respond.
Yeah.
So today floating around the expo, I talked to some, quote unquote celebrities of the hunting world. Right. And, when I connect with them one-on-one in person, they want to sit down and record a podcast. But if I was to shoot them an email or whatever, and then they say, well, how many downloads of your episodes do you have? And all this stuff. And they're like, oh, you're not big enough.
Right.
This is where mentorship is conservation hits the road.
Absolutely.
Is the investing in the life of each other, the taking the time to have the conversation, to sit down, be real, be vulnerable, and be like,
That's right.
dude, here I am. This is take it or leave it, you know. But at the end of the day, we're both here to promote hunting, so let's do the best we can and let's partner and run with it.
Oh, and by the way, we just became best friends, man.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
No, I really appreciate it, man. It's very nice to meet you. And I want to let you know that I want you to be able to record your hunts too, brother. So what I got for you right here is a Tactacam hunter package, all right? It's going to have your camera and everything. And then when you're ready to throw it on your scope, that's our film through scope system. So
no way.
Yeah, so I want you to have that, Johnny, and you know, we'll get y'all set up, brother, and now you're gonna be able to start sharing those videos with your fans and everything. So
all right, y'all, we're gonna have to get some more YouTube videos up and
He's got no excuse now.
The pressure is on.
I just want you to know that it'll show the misses too. So.
Oh, Rudy, man, I really appreciate it. Your info will be in the show notes for people to reach out, get a hold of you, guys. Rudy he's the salt of the earth. He's the type of people you want to get to know, and and whether or not you're a Tactacam fan out there, it doesn't matter. Rudy's a man. And
our motto is share your hunt. It doesn't matter how, of course you want it. We want you to do it with Tactacam, but however you do it, share your hunt, share your experience, share your knowledge, share your...
Well, so I totally agree with that, and that's even why I started a YouTube channel, is I go and I leave my wife and kids, and it's hard to sit down and tell my 3-year-old, my 5-year-old what I did, but all of a sudden I can show them the video.
Absolutely.
This is what your daddy did.
That's right.
And they're like, oh, wow.
And you're sowing the seeds.
Yeah.
You're sowing the seeds for those future hunters or future fishermen, women, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then you never know. You can't outgive good.
Future leaders, really. That's what we're trying to build.
Absolutely. Positive, high-quality, functioning individuals and positive members of society.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Old values are hard to find, aren't they?
Dude, I hear you. Hey, Rudy, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Johnny, happy to be on with you, man. Hope we could do it again, maybe schedule a hunt or something, and then we have something cool to talk about.
Heck yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out Rudy, and as always, stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love it if you could go ahead and give this a rating as well as subscribe. Also, you can check us out on Instagram under the Soulful Hunter Podcast. Make sure to tag us in pictures and posts and use the hashtag Soulful Hunter. To find out more about the Soulful Hunter Podcast, go to soulfulhunter.com and be sure to follow the podcast as we are going to be bringing you a lot of great information, insight, and changing lives through primal adventure. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Stay tuned and stay soulful.